The hurry is...
Welcome to the basement. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the basement. I'm Nolo.
Jose, what's going on, yo?
What's up, bro? What's going on in this world?
It's like a week off of school, so I have my son. So if you hear him, he's next door playing the Rift, which is an online form. So he's interacting with other players. So I asked him to keep the conversation to a minimum. So if you hear him, I apologize in advance.
Yeah, it's funny because the kids are off of school and my wife is off. Cause my wife goes to college. She's off of school. So right now she's at home with just kids screaming all day. And when I get home, I make food and then they get ready for bed.
Sure,
So it's not that bad for me.
It's worse for her. That's funny.
So you been looking at the news?
I get those pop-up notifications.
Hold on, before we
Last time I didn't have headsets to hear this. Oh boy. We had done an episode with our first guest, and we'll put it up. We'll call it like just for fun episode, and it's just non-stop sound effects, and it's literally like a kid getting a new toy. Yeah, it's just there's no point. You could tell in the video that I'm super frustrated because I don't have the headphones. I can't hear what you're doing, and I was just like, these guys, I can't take this episode serious.
But on the way here, I heard on the radio that there was an active shooter at YouTube headquarters.
Right.
You saw that?
I saw the notifications on my phone. I got like 4 of them.
At YouTube headquarters? I would never even think that, right? Because there's such a... You would have never imagined somebody even have a gun in that place.
Yeah, and I mean, eventually they're gonna get to the bottom, as to what were the motives, who was it, what was the reason behind it.
Apparently, what I'm saying now is that she shot. It was a woman, and she shot herself.
But I saw something so no one else was injured.
Oh, I don't know that. Let's find out.
Because I saw something pop up that said that multiple patients were hospitalized with injuries.
Oh, something's about to go down on this computer. I can't stop it. Right? So just get ready.
What do you mean?
Oh, you know what? No, that's 9 minutes long. It's not gonna happen.
Want fries? I want chicken McNuggets.
I'm just gonna stop that.
That's advertising. You can't.
This episode brought to you by McDonald's chicken nuggets.
But just mute it. You muted it?
Yeah, I did.
All right. So while it plays, but
4 victims.
Okay.
One is in critical condition. It doesn't look like anybody died. They haven't said yet.
Yeah.
But it looks like the woman, which is so unusual, killed herself. Out of all these active shooters throughout these past years, not one of them has been a woman, right? I didn't hear anything about women doing it.
I don't think so. That's
Such an unusual thing.
That is weird. And what does that say about us?
Well, men are naturally more aggressive. That's just our... Think about it. We had to be the hunters, and the women just stayed home and raised. They had to be gentle, But this is also the reason why men do better in certain fields than women. Because women are more... Like, the nursing field is majority women because that's a caregiving field. Same thing goes with teachers and stuff like that. But men are more executives because that's a more like a hunting, go get it type of field. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they're smarter or dumber. I'm just saying there's just different ways of doing things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that I don't know.
It's just an unusual thing. And then a woman going into a... Because let's be real, YouTube is very liberal. You know what I'm saying? They don't hide it. They have their agenda and they push it. And to have their headquarters have a person going there with a gun, you would never imagine a person in Google having a gun. I mean, in YouTube having a gun.
Google?
Yeah, it's Google, the alphabet, whatever you call it. But if it would happen to Fox News, that person would have got shot as soon as they walked in the door. Fox is like, yeah, we have guns here. Don't come.
What is? You got a video?
I do, but it's 9 minutes long, and I ain't trying to play that.
Yeah,
That's like half our
not.
time.
So half the time, I just read like the headlined news pop-ups that show up on my phone. If it's something that I'm really interested, I'll look into it later on. Read up on it later on, so sort of stuff. But most of the time, I'm just like, it's just so much negativity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like I kind of feel like it's best that I don't.
You know what's funny? I just had a conversation with somebody today. He was sitting down and he was like, I'm trying to get, he was an older guy. He's like, how do you put the internet to watch CNN on your phone? And I was like, showing him how to do it. And I was like, you sure you want to watch CNN? Because they're guaranteed to talk about Trump Russia the entire time you're on break. He's like, nah, they talk about all kinds of things. Sure enough, the entire break they talked about Trump Russia. And I told him, I was like, you gotta, diversify your news source, bro. Sometimes I'll put the TV on, like in the break room or whatever. I'll put CNN after like 5 minutes. I'm like, again with the damn Trump Russia. If something was there, it would have came out by now.
Yeah.
They've been going at it for like a year now. You know what I'm saying? They would the slightest inclination that he would have been involved with Russia, they would immediately slam the hammer on him and got him out of the office. They've been fiending to take him out of office, right?
Yeah, you would imagine if they had something by now.
Yeah. So they're saying their thing is like, we see smoke but we don't find the fire. And I'm like, maybe it's a foggy day, baby.
I mean, when do you think they'll let up? What, the third year?
I don't think they will. I think it's going to be one of those things where they're just going to try and try and try. Because this is their agenda right now. They're anti-Trump, So because that's their agenda, they can't stop because that's how they plan on winning the next election.
Yeah, but who would even...
I don't know. I think, me personally, because of the position Trump's in right now, I just feel like it's better for him to just be like, I'm going to step to the side, let Republicans figure out who they want to run, and I'm not even going to say nothing about that guy. I'm not going to say he's a good guy or a bad guy. I'm just going to be like, I'm stepping back, and I enjoyed this time in the office. I hope you guys enjoy your next president.
You don't think he's going to run again?
I'm sure he is. I'm just saying what I think he should do. Because I just feel like there's so much negativity towards him. It's almost, it's going to be harder for the Republican Party to win anything else. Because they got to drag. Trump is like an anchor they got to drag.
I can't imagine any narcissistic individual now running again. I think it's going to be the same show.
Yeah. No, but I heard too that the week after he won the election, he already filed for the re-election. He already started the process. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure he's going to run. I'm just saying what I think he should do.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like it's easier to start fresh. I feel like it's easier for them to start fresh than to start with this baggage.
I see him winning again.
You think so? I think he might win.
I think he might win again. If there's anything that can be said about the presidency, is that the trend is 2 terms.
Yes.
How long has that been happening?
Since
Nixon?
No, wasn't Carter Trump president? Jimmy Carter?
I don't know. That's a good question, but I mean, it's been a while. So the if anything has been constant, is that everyone gets 2 shots.
Yeah. Because it's easier. This is the thing. We saw this with Obama too. At least me personally, because I was older and I paid more attention. The first year they're in office, the first 2 years they're the president of the United States. The last 2 years of the first 4 years, they're running for the next to be president again. So there's those last 2 years, they're like torn between 2 worlds. Running for the president again and also being the president. When they're on their last, if they be reelected, the last 4 years, they don't got to worry about running again. They're full president mode. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason for them to stop and campaign. They don't have to campaign.
Right.
After they win the second time, I don't care what you think about me. I do whatever I want now. I'm out. I'm getting my paycheck, baby. Right?
It's true.
So
it's so much easier at that point.
Yeah, that's why I think this is why I feel like if you have a president, unless he's really, really bad, just put him in front of the 4 years. Let him rock out. But then again, people look at Trump like he's the Antichrist too. Like you saw, he's going to send troops to the border. All right, we just saw this because I think it's National Guard, right?
Right.
I mean, what are they for? Aren't they? That's what they're for. They're to defend their country. If we're dealing with an invasion, I'm not saying they're coming in with weapons, but they're coming in. They're crossing illegally. I think there should be some sort of, you know, something there. I'm not saying a wall or an army. I'm just saying something. If the border patrol is saying, yeah, we're being overwhelmed, maybe we should help them out. You know. And the truth is, the majority of people that come up, that are here legally are not from the border. They're overstaying their visas, or they do cross the border. They bring them to jail. They let them free and say, "This is your court date. Come. This is your court date." And they just never show up. You know. I just saw. I think it was Vice, a documentary on Vice about it. And these two kids came over, and I think the grandfather told them, when you get across the border, look for the border patrol. They're gonna put you in jail. They're gonna give you a court date. When they release you for your court date, come to Virginia. And they told them, because they're minors, so they can't just let them go. They're like, you have any family in New York, in America? Yes, my family's in Virginia. Then America says, okay, we're gonna pay for your flight to go to Virginia. Then they go to Virginia, and then they get lost in space. They're here legally. They're never gonna go to trial. They're done. They're here.
Are you for or against DACA?
That's difficult. Because do we let the children pay for the sins of the parents? Is that what we're gonna do?
Right.
So if the parents did something wrong, do we force the children to pay for those crimes? So the kids came over. The parents brought the kids over illegally. The parents are the ones committing the crime, and now the kids are here. Should we make them pay for the crime? Meanwhile, they grew up in this country, they don't know their own country. Right? I say, I can see a case for letting them stay. Sure. I mean, they were born here. This is all they know. America has only known them here.
And I guess the other argument is that they're citizens first and foremost, right?
If they were born here,
if
they were born here, then they don't have to worry
they
about
don't
DACA.
have to
It's that they were children they were brought over. So technically, they're not American citizens.
Right.
But their case is, I don't know anything about my other country. You know, I don't even know where I was born. All I know is America. I grew up here.
You would imagine that they're in school, they're getting some type of education.
So the argument is saying,
Because immigrants aren't coming here just to find better jobs to send money back. They're bringing their children, and they're not taking advantage. I don't want to use that word, but they're utilizing the resources that they have before them, and one of those resources is obviously education.
And we can't.
Not that we have the best education, right? But
we can't hate on them. I mean, if you went somewhere and they were like, "Oh yeah, go over there. They give you free food," you're like, "Oh, no time, okay." You know, if somebody told you there's free stuff there, free stuff here,
I want to go now.
I'm going right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get that food. So you can't really hate on them for doing that. They're using the system, like you said. They utilize the system that's set before them. But on the other hand, people are looking at them and saying, "Yeah, but they're not even supposed to be here."
Right. That's always going to be the argument. But what I'm saying is that for these children, I think it has to be on an individual basis. I think that they should be sat down and said, okay, you got here 10 years ago. Your children has been integrated into our school system, our health system. What are you doing about that? And then say well, let's start an application and see how far you get through the vetting process of becoming at least temporary, and then maybe we could do in an individual basis. We could do a probationary period like they do with licenses, and every job you start you're in a probation period. So maybe we do a probationary visa where these individuals have to report. They have to report where they live, where they're working, their earnings. And not yearly, quarterly. They have to report their taxes and pay their dues. And if the individuals are being responsible, and they're leading what would be a productive, responsible citizen of this great country that's founded in give us your weak, give us your hungry, your poor. If they're doing those things, then not only that, but then you're also getting rid of all these individuals who are sucking up the system as far as benefits, medical, food,
that's
housing.
That should be an account. So saying, if you're on your 2 feet and you're doing what you're supposed to do, then we could work on something. But if you're consistently just sucking the system and not giving back anything, you're making it hard for us to say that you can stay. You're making it difficult. But now people that say they should stay because we can't let the children pay for the sins of the parents. Okay, so then let's keep that same mentality and let's talk about also abortion. Do we let those children pay for the sins of the parents too?
You are just tying things.
Well, I'm just saying let's keep the same logic.
I'm single, and if we keep this up, I'm never gonna find anybody.
No, because in essence, what's a human? If I give you my DNA, you know who I am. You can construct me, let's say, whatever, with my DNA, right? A baby or a fetus or a zygote, whatever it is, has its own DNA. That's a human. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get into this conversation. I'm just saying the same logic should stand.
I feel like that when it comes to these children, I don't feel like they necessarily have to pay for the sins of their parents.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think so, especially if we have a system that allows those individuals to come forward and apply legitimately. And I think that we would in turn reduce the number of people on these government programs, because they're doing it the legit way. You can imagine the amount of individuals who are here illegally getting documents from, they're paying for copies and documents of other people who are citizens just so they could go out and get a job and apply. You would eliminate that. That would be such a gain in our economy, just to take those steps. Because let's be real, just addressing this issue is going to cost money, a lot of money.
Yeah. Now,
my thing is, what's the most efficient way, effective, efficient, that reaps the best benefit for us, the people?
Yeah.
That's my
It should benefit both parties. Mind you, they've already been here for years.
Yeah, the only way it should benefit the immigrants, the party of the immigrants on that side, the only way it should benefit them is when they go through the process we set up. Because they, like you just said, they've already been benefiting. So it's now it's time for them to pay their dues.
Yeah.
So it should only benefit those who are willing to pay for their dues. If they're not, then leave, because they're gonna eventually find you. They're gonna remove you from this country.
We should have a conversation like this with somebody that thinks on the other side, because I kind of see the arguments from the other side saying, "Oh, but why are we telling them to do things when we have American citizens that are American citizens born here that all they do is suck from the system?"
Yeah, and I can hear that. Like, I could hear that argument as well. And I think that's a separate issue that has to be dealt with in a different form, because we know who those people are. At least we could. They're more identifiable. They have IDs. They're citizens. They have birth certificates. So I feel like there is the fault in that when that argument is made is that the government, both local and international, if that's the case, they're not doing a good job communicating with each other. One department doesn't really effectively communicate to the next. And we're in 2018 where technology should be like, wait a minute.
It's funny because when I hear things like that, I'm like, just download Dropbox. You guys can easily switch things.
You can share files easily. You don't even have to call each other. Yeah, but basically, there should be. I think that falls on the government's hands, that we should be tracking better what these individuals are doing. Like that case with that woman who was, first of all, an immigrant. Second of all, with someone else's identity. The individual was collecting public assistance in 5 different states.
What?
5 different states.
That's some gangster stuff right there.
Latin. I'm not gonna say which Latin, but because it's not about that. So this individual was caught, and then 6 months later, she was back.
And you hear this too. Like, this is not unheard of. Like, this is often stuff like this goes on. And I was watching the news. They showed this guy. He was deported, came back, arrested, went to an American facility for committing crimes, murdered some American citizen, And they're like, this system has to be done better. There's no way this guy should have consistently came back over and over again. Then we put him in jail, and we released him back in America. He should have been deported right after that. You know? If we're going to put him in jail, keep him in jail, then deport him right after. Don't even release him in America. Release him somewhere else. You know?
Like, not their country?
Just where, I don't give a crap where they go. That's how I feel about it. Release him in Antarctica. There you go.
Wow.
You want to be a murderer killer? Go ahead. So good luck. Survive that.
Good luck getting back.
Yeah, there you go. Good luck getting back. I don't care. But, yeah, that. So then another thing was, with the same logic, like I was saying, with don't let the children pay for the sins of the fathers. And I think I talked about this before. I don't remember if it was one of the lost episodes or not. Was the South Africa thing where they're giving the land back to the natives?
Yeah, I don't know who recorded that.
Okay, so the Dutch basically colonized South Africa, right? So they have land, right? We're good?
We are, but did we clap?
Yeah, we did.
Sorry.
So the Dutch colonized the land. Anyway, the point is now, the Dutch basically took over all the land. Then you have the native African Americans that are there. But the white race owns a lot of the property because how it started with the Dutch, right? So these people, they're just, my father, my grandfather owned this land, my grandfather before me owned this land. I was born on this land. I don't know no other land but this land. And now South Africa is saying, okay, you white people, you got to give up your land, and we got to give it back to the natives. And the people are like, I didn't take the land from them. I was born here. I don't know nothing else, you know. So that's another case of making the children paying for the sins of the fathers. You know what I'm saying? The fathers did something wrong. Why are the children paying the price? You know, it shouldn't be like that. They should be. We should work something out. And like I said, I don't know if we recorded, but maybe make a high tax. What is it? Land tax. What do you call that? When you own property tax.
Property tax.
Make a high give them a higher property tax, higher than normal. Take those funds and make some sort of system to give to the natives. Like, okay, with this money, we're gonna help everyone get land now. You know, that way nobody's asked out.
And how would you implement that into the situation that we have here?
That's just a whole other scenario. So, in that case, no, because this is totally different. You wouldn't. It's no equivalent. Because we're gonna do tax Americans to pay for them, or tax them at a higher rate to pay for those things. Maybe.
Hey, you're the one who wants to live here. Obviously, being here is better than your country.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but then people are gonna be like, oh, it's the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer.
But that's always been the case.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that never, like, ceasing. You know, that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer.
No, you cannot. It's impossible because I forgot what I was reading, and it's a special.
And you want the rich to get richer because they're the ones who are going to build things and provide more jobs and invest in. They want to make more money, and in turn, what that does for us is it provides opportunity.
And people don't understand. They're like, okay, listen. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. Let's imagine me and you both were born, whatever city, state, whatever, or whatever situation. We both grew up the same. I decided to bust my ass and go to college. And I went 7 years to college. I got my doctor's degree. My first year of being a doctor, I get paid garbage. I get paid just enough to rent the room out. Because that's the truth. First year of doctor, you're just a regular job. Little by little, I started to make more money. Now I'm at the point where I'm some sort of specialized surgeon. Now I make a good 6 figures. And you're telling me I need to pay higher tax to pay for the other guy that didn't go to school? He had the opportunity just like I had the opportunity. Why do I have to pay for him? Because I busted my ass. I'm still paying student loans. You know what I'm saying? And the higher tax rate for people that make more money, all it's going to do is disincentivize people from getting up there. And I see this at my job too. Because if you work more than 2 overtimes, you're at a different tax bracket. And people don't want to work more than those overtimes. They pass up overtime all the time. They're like, I don't want to work more because I'll be in another tax bracket. You're going to take more money away from me. I don't want to do that. So it's just, and then people that make it that level, where they gotta pay freaking 50% tax, they're like, if I'm gonna pay 50% tax, I'd rather move to Scandinavia, where I'm gonna get something for my taxes.
Right.
That it's not just going to the poor people, it's going to the community, it's going to, you know, my kids don't have to pay for college, I don't have to pay for medical. I'd rather live over there, you know? But.
That's interesting because I just put up so people can see. And for those of you who are listening to us on podcast, 2018 income tax bracket. The rate is if you make between 9,005 to 38,000. I'm just gonna, as you know, round out the numbers. You're 12%.
That's the lower tax, the lowest tax bracket.
That's the lowest. 12% between 9,500 and 38,000. 22% is 38,000 to 82. 24% is 82 to 157.
157,000.
57,000.
How much percentage is that?
24%. Okay.
That's child support right there, baby.
Damn.
That's the child support payment. 24%.
That is a child support. That's with
two kids.
two or more kids.
We know what we're talking about.
We're experts. And then 32% for those making 157,000 to $200,000 a year.
That's like a doctor.
So 32% is going to be taxed at $200,000 a year.
Oh man, try. I was gonna say, so what's 32% of 200,000? But
it's like a lot of money. It's like 32. It's like at least you're talking about $64,000, no?
There's the wrong person. Right?
Anyway,
if you know the answer to that question, please comment below.
Put in the things so we can read it. No, but I mean, your argument is valid. Why would I want to get that salary if I'm getting deducted this amount of money?
Yeah, because to them it's like I'm giving you all this money, but I'm not getting nothing out of it.
Yeah.
Remember, people are selfish. That was the whole.
Yeah, it's not like I got a grant or because I went to school and became a doctor. I'm still paying all that off.
Yeah, I'm still paying. I know doctors that are older that are still paying off.
That's crazy.
And some of them are like, not only am I still paying this off, but because of my career choice, medicine is always updating, and I gotta constantly go to school.
Oh yeah, they have to keep in compliance with.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's like, I'm consistently paying for stuff. So then not only that, but now I want to buy a house in this country, and now you're gonna tax me a crazy property tax.
Yeah, 64,000 out of that 200,000.
Yeah, so now a lot. Very good.
64,000. That's insane.
That's somebody from the lower tax bracket's paycheck.
That's not even the 12. It starts roughly between 22 and.
You know, what'd be interesting. Okay, what if you say we leave everybody a small tax, right? Tell me if this sounds crazy. All right, small tax bracket, right? Let's say 12% across the board, everybody. No matter how much money you make, no matter how much little money you make, 12% across the board. But if you make more than 200,000, you have to hire a butler.
For what?
So you can have a job. You can give a job.
Oh, you have.
You have to have a butler.
See, in order to keep that bracket, you have to provide some sort of.
If you make it a certain amount of money, every $200,000, you have to hire some sort of service by law.
Does
to
that
take care of your home, take care of your children, whatever it is. It benefits you in the long run.
Is it a write-off for me as well?
It could be a write-off. Yeah, let's make it a write-off. We're making laws out here. That way, people that are in the lower tax bracket, you're not just making a lot of money and holding it in your pocket, stashing it away.
You're providing someone
you're providing a job for somebody else. And you gain.
Because you got a butler.
You got a butler.
I need chocolate milk, butler. Go get it.
Exactly. That's a dope job, too. Think about it. Imagine the Christmas bonuses. You take good care of the family, do everything. That bonus is ill.
That bonus is.
They're like, hey, I got your card, buddy.
Yeah, so I want to be a butler now myself.
So the job would it be a degrading thing if you think about it? Or would it be like a service? The government's like, we have jobs.
Well, look, if everyone's getting taxed 12%, right? That was what you said.
Across the board.
And they're making 200,000, which we know $64,000, right? Then that butler has to be paid at least, according to 2018's rates, at least between 9,500 and 38,000 for that butler.
Give him 38.
$38,000. That's not. I mean, for.
Okay, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, you know what you do? You set a minimum.
Well,
Not like minimum wage, maybe like a minimum wage. You'd be like, you have to at least pay this much.
Right.
And then you have to give them 40 hours a week.
But I don't think it could be a tax write-off because then that person who's making $200,000, they're 12%. They're no, they will. Right. So if they're getting only 12%, then the person making $200,000, if they're also paying 12%, then that means that they're only paying $24,000. So they would have to. Yeah, that means that's a difference of from 64 to 28. We're talking about almost $40,000.
Yeah, so for mind you, the benefits for the person that's rich are good. The benefits for the person that's getting hired is also good because they're getting a job easily.
So they can't pay them more
maybe,
than 40.
Maybe you make it a thing where it's like you have to provide also a living space.
Right.
Whether that be a room in whatever you have, or maybe a guest house or whatever, just something. You have to provide some sort of space that they can stay.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's quite. But then also think about it like, think about the type of people that go to the welfare office and those type of people that go there. Imagine having one of them to be in your household. Just showing up.
So what would happen to those people? Because they're not getting hired as butlers.
They're not getting hired
or maids.
You have some sort of qualifier. You have to
Right.
maybe a school, a work program to teach them how to be a butler.
There are some people that don't know how to turn on a computer, bro.
You have to train them. Well, you do that. You have a resume, and then you have the people that are rich, quote unquote, say, I'm looking for a butler that can do X, 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 X. This is my pay. They take that, they throw it to the system, and then everybody applies. Oh, I like this job. Okay, I'm gonna apply for that one. I could do that. I could do office Word.
See, I don't see that idea working in the first place for the simple fact that
Unless, wait, hold on, even better. They have to be illegal if you hire them. If we give them jobs, they're part of the system now. Let's go.
And we make them legal.
There you go.
Pay your taxes.
And you become legal. And you do it for 5 years. And you're citizenship.
The only reason why I don't think it'll ever work is because the person who's paying 12% making only $10,000 is always gonna cry out like, well, why do I have to pay 12%? I'm only making 10. You know how much 12% is of 10?
Yeah. Well, we're not gonna pay $10,000. Nobody will. I mean,
According to the bracket.
people would take that job. Desperate people. But the quality of person that would apply for that job at that rate, you don't want that person in your house. If somebody's like, I'll work 40 hours a week for $9,000 as a butler, as a person that's rich, you'd be like, let me see what kind of person would you do that?
No.
Exactly. You would ask for a higher amount. So the market would fix itself.
But what happens when it starts fixing itself and individuals have more qualifications and more skills? Who's going to fill in those jobs? Who's going to be the butlers if everyone's upping their game?
Butlers, baby.
There's always going to be butlers.
You're going to have people that are getting brand new to the job market.
Immigrants.
Or immigrants. I was going to say 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds that are just getting in the job market. They want to get a job. They're like, all right, clean my kitchen, kid.
Yeah.
Babysit my kid while I'm at work.
Mow my lawn.
Mow my lawn. There you go.
Plow the
Entry
snow.
level. This is what minimum
Shovel.
wage jobs are for. People that are fresh in the job market. They got no skills. I need skills. They're not going to hire you at $60,000 with no skills.
Do the individual? What about the people who make more than 200,000? How much? How many? Is the cap $200,000 or is there a cap?
Maybe you should say, you start at 200,000, right? Every 200,000 on top of that, you have to hire another person.
So every 200,000, according to the bracket. No, but the bracket doesn't change, right? It's 12%.
No, 12%.
So according to that, every 200,000, you have to provide another employment.
Yeah.
But what about like people like the owner of Elon Musk or the owner of Amazon? They're making.
Well, you know what you could do? You could say it could be a write-off in the sense where you're providing a service, so we'll knock out one butler position for every person you hire for your company.
Yeah, but even the owner of Amazon, whoever you are.
Jeff
I
Bezos.
love you.
Jeff Bezos. Send us some stuff, Bezos.
Please, we need better cameras.
Seriously.
But in a way, he does provide millions, if anything.
That's what I'm
millions
saying.
of jobs.
Those butler jobs that he's accumulating, you have to hire 50 butlers. He's like, we're going to do 50 butlers. If you hire somebody for Amazon, we'll knock off a butler. So for him, he's like, I gotta keep a minimum employment.
So he probably already met his quota.
Exactly. So he doesn't really. So he's already there, because you know why? He's providing jobs to the community.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we can pass that. That's good. And think about it. If you have a butler, if you're a doctor, and you're like, I need to go to school. All right, cool. I got a babysitter. I got somebody to help me do my laundry. I can focus more on my career. I can make more money, and eventually hire another butler or whatever you want to call it. What is it called? The people that work in the hotels that get you whatever you want.
Oh my god.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Connoisseur?
The concierge?
Concierge! You call him a concierge. You make it fancy.
I love how we finish each other's thoughts.
So you could be like, look, I got a date tonight, baby. Can you wash my car? Oh, yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Or drive me over here.
Or drive me over there. That's part of your service. That's a dope job, though. Think about it. And then they provide you for a place to live. Imagine they give you a place to live. You don't have to pay no rent either. So whatever money they pay you plus no rent.
This is why the only people we're leading is our children.
Eating?
Leading.
Oh, yeah. This is in the alternate universe of the time.
The time?
We make two timelines.
We split it and see. Yeah, this would be it. This would be it. Would we be? Would if that system had existed in the 90s, 80s? Would we be here?
Yeah, because think about it. Our first job, instead of working in a restaurant as a waiter, because we used to work as waiters, we would probably be a butler. We were doing the same type of work, bringing food.
Service, yeah.
So like, let's say I was a really good chef. I'll put that on my application. I'm a really good chef. And somebody's like, I don't really need a butler. I just need somebody to cook for me and my family. Boom, that's my qualification. I'm ready. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'll do my 40 hours doing those. Done. Serve. Done. That's my 40 hours right there.
So I guess the question is, what do you guys think?
Should we hire illegals to be butlers?
That's it. That's another episode of The Basement, y'all. And stay tuned. We got more people, you know.
Hopefully soon, some more guests.
More guests are coming on. If you want to actually hit us up and join us, we would be more than honored. Check us out at thebasementny.com. There's a forum page there where you could submit your request, and we'll get back at you.
So just remember the password.